Hello, I'm Dr. Katherine Horton. I apologize for the way I look, but I would like to report about the ongoing mutilations against me. I have worked so hard today trying to make progress. I worked so hard today because I was really looking forward to an interview with Paul Marco, the organizational psychologist whom I told you about, and who also interviewed me, and I posted the interview on Twitter. And essentially I am trying to make things better, and meanwhile a bunch of utter degenerates in the Secret Services are just mutilating me because they can't stop themselves. I've been to the High Court. I've already had 4 public appeals to cease and desist to the heads of the intelligence agencies, and they're so end-state degenerate they cannot stop. So what they did with me today is exactly identical to what they did to me on when I went back to Germany on the 2 days before Christmas, the 22nd of December. I was maimed and mutilated. German intelligence punched in intense microwave beams into my skull throughout my entire stay in Germany. German intelligence has gone full Gestapo. You have to understand, Dr. Reinhard Munzert already had massive problems with them, right? And they tried to section him, I think, when he started uncovering that Siemens is involved, right? And the Fraunhofer Institute and things like that. So we know that there's serious Nazis here, essentially serious Nazis. And they are in the intelligence agencies, they are in big corporations, and we need to hunt these bastards down because they have now gone into the end state where just mutilating people. So what you can see on here, these are really deep, deep lesions here on my face. Every single one of these large points that you can see essentially takes ages to heal, because you can just see how they were trying to map my brain, by just putting in different beams, and every single time a beam goes in, like here, like that one, they drilled in over and over and over to figure out, and here as well, like how to trigger my eyebrows. And now, after they have mutilated me, you know what they can do? They can remotely lift my eyebrows, and sometimes they amuse themselves when I lie in bed to control my muscles, and it's beyond my control. Now this is one-to-one, the follow-on of the death camp experiments. So the intelligence agencies are running death camp experiments on the population. Rochelle Finlayson, she so elegantly explains what British intelligence is doing to her, one-to-one the same, what the fucking Nazi Gestapo in Germany did to me, and what the Nazi Swiss Gestapo does to me here. And also the British Nazis and the intelligence agencies who irradiated my head in October. We have basically a national state of emergency, because these degenerates do not understand public appeals. They are so end-state degenerate, and we have to understand where this comes from. We have to understand. I'm sorry, I know you are all primed to look at me, and if you see any injuries in a person's face, you assume, oh, they are trailer trash, working class, they must be infected with something. No. When you are watching my videos, keep in mind that you are listening to an abuse victim. I want you to know that. I have now been mutilated every minute of every hour, continuously for over a year. My head is continually irradiated. My body was punched in with these very fine pencil beams, but also big beams that cause, intense pain, as I've showed you in the video that I recorded at 4 a.m. when they just punched my body every 60 seconds with a powerful microwave beam, a military microwave beam. They just set down these emitters. The emitters track me and find me and just shoot into my body every 60 seconds. Bam, 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 bam. All throughout the night. Because that's the human experiment, and I'm just a rat. And the degenerates in the secret services, and by now I have to count the heads of the intelligence agencies also. They must be utterly psychopathic. Not to listen to 3 court hearings begging them to cease and desist, and 4 public appeals, and these degenerate bastards still continue. Well, we now have essentially national emergency situations in every Western country. Our intelligence agencies have gone full on Gestapo. it's becoming clear what horrific pedophilia we have rampant everywhere in the country. And these days anybody can go on YouTube and Twitter and find out about this in greatest detail. So the question arises, if we can find out over YouTube, how the hell can the intelligence agencies who are tasked with fighting terrorism not find this out? And the same will be true here. We are now looking at large statistics of thousands of people who were mutilated with microwave weapons, who had their brains destroyed with voice to skull. We're now finding out the even more horrific things the intelligence agencies have been infecting people with. Fungi, heavy metals that combine with fungi, self-assembling nanobots and utter degenerate psychopathic shit like that. We now are in this state, and essentially we have to launch a Nazi hunt. These are Nazi death camp experiments. The intelligence agencies are involved. There are scientists involved. There are medics involved, and a lot of psychiatrists. They were either utterly stupid or totally corrupt to cover all these things up. And we basically have now a major, major state of national emergency. I would appeal to all the victims to please get down, write up your victim testimony now. Next week, write your victim testimony. Write down, who are you, what you do, when did your targeting start, what year, what day if you know it, what did you do when it started, do you have a suspicion who might be doing it, what did they do to you, what did you experience voices in your head, weird tones in your head, did your skin start burning, did you have weird pain, did you suddenly develop weird illnesses, weird medical complaints, did you suddenly have a lot of falls, did your muscles start twitching, did you experience gang stalking, break-ins, was your car radio, the radios in your house manipulated, did you start having weird rashes and infections and skin infections, headaches, what did you experience? Because if you're a victim of these intelligence agencies, also the same with the MK Ultra victims, everybody, the sex abuse victims, everybody, please start writing up what happened to you. Write a court document. This is what you have to write. And write it such that you literally have numbered paragraphs. Every piece of information you put into a numbered paragraph. And you say, first, I am da 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 da. Second, I am doing this. And have numbered paragraphs where you go through absolutely everything that has been done to you. Because we have to move to court cases. Don't let these idiots tell you that court cases are not working. They are working. I was in front of 3 judges, and certainly 2 of them, I could see in their faces that they were horrified. What the intelligence agencies are doing is the abuse you can see on me, they are now shipping it to everybody. They are assaulting more and more people. You have now seen my public appeals. I have posted the written appeals to these people. I even posted the, frankly, in my view, incredibly arrogant comment from MI5, who have shot me in the head straight after my first hearing against them as respondents. I have seen what their lawyers submitted. When I quoted Philip Kerr versus MI5, their lawyers didn't assume that I knew in detail about Philip Kerr's case. But I'd spoken to Philip Kerr and I've seen the evidence he submitted. And I can tell for sure that the lawyers did everything to cover up the horrific crimes MI5 committed against Philip Kerr. I can actually prove that in court. Because the lawyer who was representing MI5 against Philip Kerr was the lawyer who was also part of the legal team when I sued. So I've now seen both sides, and I know who's telling the truth there, and who is, blatantly covering things up. And I am sick of just being mutilated harder and harder. Meanwhile, I'm really trying to work hard to actually give something to you, and I have to appear here in front of you utterly mutilated, after having directly to the faces of these degenerate men have actually said, please stop. Mr. Andrew Parker, it is entirely within your power to stop. Dear Dr. Bruno Kahl, it is entirely within your power to make these degenerate agents of yours stop, to pull me out of this human experimentation. Brian Tew has now published the hive mind teams, that there's a shift service. This is what I kept saying. There's a shift service. You now have it on writing, publicly. On my YouTube page, there's a shift service of degenerate idiots assaulting me. Day and night, day and night. Imagine, there's 3 shifts, so 24 hours you are assaulted by a team, a multiple team of people, which sounds like there are at least 4 people. So it's 4 people focused on mutilating one person every minute of every day and every night. That is the utter mental degeneracy the CIA, MI6, MI5, BND and NDB and all the others have set up. They are degenerate Nazis. The intelligence agencies are degenerate Nazis. We are now uncovering that they did not do anything about prolific child sex abuse. If we can find it out over YouTube and Twitter what has been happening, how the hell could they, with their amazing spying capabilities, not find it out? In my view, it is absolutely impossible that they did not know about it, and therefore they either knew and condoned crimes against humanity, against children, or they were even involved and derived a cut. The same with the drugs. It is absolutely impossible to import large amounts of drugs into a country without the modern intelligence agencies not knowing, given their vast human intelligence networks, that they are wasting on stalking people. This is a system that is so degenerate and so out of control that it's now murdering the best and brightest. They are mutilating and murdering the best and brightest, because the best and brightest by now are not in Oxford and Cambridge and these major institutions. As a young scientist, I saw our best people leave because they couldn't put up with the conditions. But now we have this situation where anybody who tries to do something creative, something new, gets mutilated by these degenerates. And I ask you, when will you mobilize? If you want to see examples of people who were tortured to death and then brutally murdered, please, in the UK, look at the case of Darim Daoud. And in Germany, please look at dozens of cases, documented cases. But look, for example, at Britta Jacquard and all the other people who have been slowly tortured to death by utter degenerates. I'm now being mutilated to death. That's what I keep trying to tell you. You can also see that I contacted Swiss military intelligence, and these men are so utterly degenerate that you report assaults with military weapons to them on the civil population. And I made it clear to them that if you beam microwaves into houses, the beam's going to go horizontal. So they're not just cooking me, because the Swiss are probably presumably fine with cooking just foreigners, right? Because they seem to be quite Nazi, as it turns out. But I emphasize they are also microwaving the civilian population on the other side of the beam line. And Swiss military intelligence is so degenerate that even though I told them now, like a week ago, even after a week of thinking about it, they still cannot mobilize to tidy this up, even though the criminals are sitting literally within 50 meters of my flat. This is how degenerate the Swiss military police is. The Swiss police is also so degenerate that after, 50 years of microwave weapons being known, after about 15 years of microwave weapons being sold online, and after at least 8 years of microwave weapons being sold online really cheaply, they still cannot handle microwave weapon attacks, and they still pull off the old mental health bullshit farce. It doesn't fly. The truth is, the police is end-state degenerate. They have been corrupted. If they actively pull off the mental health card, it doesn't even mean that they are just ignorant. It means that they're actively corrupted. So the heads of our police are in deep capture. This is a national emergency. The military police also seems to be in deep capture. When I mentioned that this is being reported to the UN, and actually it has been reported to the UN Human Rights Commission already, but it's going to be reported again, they hung up the phone. They didn't like that. Now, what sort of military police does not like when crimes against humanity are reported to the UN? I ask you. And to anybody who dares to doubt what I'm saying now, I swear to God, I will play the recording. I have this entire exchange recorded, and I will make it public. But this is it. This is what we're dealing with. Our systems are so degenerate that a hardworking person inside their own home gets shot to pieces and ends up looking like that. And by the way, I still have makeup on my face. If I take off makeup, then the rest of makeup, then you can see what I look like really. And you can see the old lesions as well, because I'm entirely speckled now. After a year of abuse, mutilating abuse. After 3 high court cases, after notifying the Swiss Attorney General, the Swiss police, the Swiss military police, the German police, the UK police, the UK Attorney General, right? The High Court, the Investigatory Powers Tribunal, the head of British intelligence, the head of German intelligence, and also writing a letter to Swiss intelligence. All these people are so utterly degenerate, they continue mutilating. So what are we gonna do? And I'm saying, all victims, next week, you write up your victim testimonies. Do you understand? No matter how much they attack you, you all write a victim testimony. And we're going to have a class action. In every country, we're going to launch class actions, and this time we're going to make it public everywhere. We are making the existence of these class actions public, and this time we are going to hunt down every last fucking Nazi in the system that has weaseled its way in, and that's actually preventing genuine, hardworking people from returning to health. Because these are premeditated attacks in a shift service, premeditated in criminal law. There's an extra category when it's premeditated. We have premeditated mutilations, premeditated murder, premeditated crimes against humanity, repeated in an 8-hour shift service every day of the year. And the ultimate responsible are those who are in charge of fighting terrorism. And they are the heads of the intelligence in all European countries, in every European and US as well. And also Australia. I heard about the targeting in Australia. The heads of intelligence are up for Nuremberg 2.0 because they have been committing premeditated crimes against humanity. And this is what it looks like. You have now seen my work. You can see what I'm trying to do, and you can decide yourself. Should I be shot to pieces? You can see the my recording of the Greater Manchester Police, of how they behaved. But don't blame the police officer at the scene. Blame the head of Greater Manchester Police. Blame the head of MI5. What the fuck was that? Blame the head of German police. You know, all these people. The head of German intelligence, the Swiss police, the Swiss military police, and the Swiss Secret Service. What the fuck are these degenerate men doing? It seems like they were taking drugs and fucking children. That's basically it. That's the only thing that explains the situation, that we've got prolific drug running, prolific child disappearances, prolific child trafficking, human sacrifice of children and rape of children in large numbers. And meanwhile, we have essentially women, 70% women, being shot to pieces with military weapons. Now, what does that tell us? It seems like that these are the things that the people in charge of fighting these things actually like to have. So what we are actually facing is situations of national emergency, whereby now we wake up, we turn around and we realize these decorated men were essentially just taking drugs, fucking children, and mutilating women for fun, claiming to do some sort of weapons testing and funky human experimentation as a backup. That's not true. This is junk science. This is fucking junk science. What Brian Q talks about, you know, if this is really how these experiments are done, what Dr. Robert Duncan talks about, that is junk science. It is degenerate science. Run by psychopaths, not by scientists, because the goal is mutilation. The goal is not true scientific inquiry, not actually getting mankind further. This is demolishing mankind. And that's the telltale sign of degenerate science. It's not science. It is not science. It is essentially the outcome of very sick, degenerate minds. So, I now ask you to please rise and please start writing your complaint letters to the heads of military intelligence. Start supporting the victims by retweeting their pleas, by starting to talk about about this with your colleagues, with your family, with whoever you can meet, that this is fucking real. In the year 2017, we either stop this or we all are going to be mutilated. Because I'm telling you, that's what the maths tells us. They are ramping this shit up. And you can look at the past history and you can convince yourself that what these proud men have been doing is essentially target women. Predominantly foreigners like me or black ladies. How about that? Does that ring a bell in somebody's head somewhere? So, really, this is not a situation. We're essentially up against a bunch of degenerates and their pedo fuck buddies, essentially. Running around, mutilating everybody. If you think the language is harsh, you should see what these guys are doing. And now the question is to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, can we defeat these people? Can we maybe, at last, all of us, stand by each other? And also those who are not affected by this, also pick up the phone and ask, for example, military intelligence when the fuck they're gonna get on the case? If you're in Switzerland, that would be greatly appreciated. But also if you're in England or Germany or any other European country where you can find a single TI, just go on YouTube, go on Twitter and try to find one in your language. A victim of the intelligence agencies, a so-called targeted individual. But anyway, this is now the appeal. We are dealing with crimes against humanity by the most degenerate in our society. And we should not be surprised. Because if you go back to the Stasi in Germany, if you go back to the Nazis, and all those war criminals in Italy and Spain and the entirety of the communist system, we have to ask ourselves, what happened when those systems were terminated? What happened at the end of the war? Yes, there were the Nuremberg trials, but how many people were actually hanged in the end? A handful? And how many Nazis were running this? How many Stasi people, how many Stasi operatives were running the Stasi, mutilating, terrorizing people? A bunch of degenerates terrorizing people. An entire country. What happened at the end? Did Buffy the Vampire Slayer just lob their head off? No, they're still among us. We never, as a society, have found a way to actually manage the degenerates in our society. The psychopaths, the terminally sick in the head, and the corrupt. We never ever have found a way to actually manage these degenerates. And now it's about time. But now we have to clear them out of our organizations. We really have to. So, tomorrow I'm going to contact these people again. And I'm going to make absolutely everything public of what I do. And I ask for your help. Because on my own, these people are just going to mutilate me more and more and more. Until I literally am so physically destroyed that I just die from my injuries like Britta Jacquard. Or I get murdered like Dareem Dawood in the UK. So, this is now the task. And if you're victim, I ask you, next week, write your victim testimony. Write it all up. Put all the evidence in the appendix. Refer to it in the paragraphs. Write it together. We're moving to court cases. This is gonna stop. These are crimes against humanity. And this is gonna stop. Thank you for listening.